Welcome, citizens of the verse. Valsim here. Great to have you back on the channel. After a short holiday and some frustrating weeks with the Research Drive event, I'm finally back. At first, the event went well for me, but later on, not so much. Honestly, it became almost unplayable. When patch 4.3.0 dropped, I was hoping that CAG will fix at least some of the freight elevators, especially at the outposts. But this didn't happen. So I started asking myself, what are the safer and more reliable alternatives for players like me? As an average pilot, I mostly run the small cargo retrieval missions for the event. They worked fine in a small ship, but I was constantly stressed about hitting something. And for just 50 SEU, way too much effort and way too much stress. I almost gave up on the event entirely, but then I thought, why not try mining instead? Copper, corundum, tungsten, nothing too special, but at least it might be more fun. Normally, I use the Prospector, but this time I decided to take things further and use my mole and end up making, in the end, a full solo test of the ARGO MOLE. That's right, a ship designed for multi-crew mining, tested alone. The MOLE, short for Multi-Operator Laser Extractor, is a medium-sized mining ship built by ARGO Astronautics. It comes with 3 independent mining turrets, which make it perfect for multi-crew ops. With 3 lasers firing at once, you can break truly massive rocks. But what if you are flying solo? Can you actually make it work? The MOLE costs about 8.5 million Alpha USC in-game. My advice: wait until the Research Drive event ends before buying one, since Hearthstone's will most probably end as win the corporation game, and you will get a 5% discount on all Hearthstone purchases, ship included. That's a nice chunk of savings on such an expensive ship. Personally, I bought my mole some time ago for squad ops with my orc, but I never really tested as a solo player until now. So today, I'm going to test 3 solo mining loadouts for you. The safe loadout, great for beginners. The balanced loadout, a mix of passive and active modules. The aggressive loadout, high power, high risk, high reward. If you are new to the MOLE, stick around from the start and see how the safe setup works. If you are already experienced, skip ahead to loadout 3 to see what this ship can really do. Of course, I'm new to the MOLE and made the test on 3 loadouts, and I'm happy with them. But the possible combination are much more, and in the end, depends also on your playing style and how you like to mine. I just want to give you some ideas which you can use and adapt to your wish and playing style. Loadout 1, the safe setup. For my first setup, I equipped the front turret with Helix 2, the strongest laser, but it starts at 30% power, which can be tricky for unstable rocks. Port and starboard turrets hosted S2, weaker lasers, but they start at 10% power, giving much better control for smaller rocks. Now let's talk about modules. There are two types. Passive modules, always active when you turn the laser on, no micromanagement needed. Active modules, you need to trigger them manually. They run on a timer, something like between 15 to 30 seconds based on the model, and have limited use before they burn out. For Loadout 1, I kept it simple. All passive modules, no active modules used. On the Helix 2, I put one focus tree, which gave me plus 40% optimal charge window, and two Rigger SC3, which give me plus 25% laser power each. On the port Hof state, I put two Rigger C3 for plus 50% total power. On the starboard Hofstede, two focus tree for a huge green zone and safe secondary fractures. These give me a good balance, power on one side, control on the other. In testing, this setup could safely crack rocks up to about 14-15 K mass. Smaller rocks or second breaks were easy with the Hofstades. But anything bigger, like for example you can see a 26 K mass rock, was simply impossible with this loadout. So if you are starting out with the mole solo, this is the safest way to learn. Reliable, simple and stress-free. For Loadout 2, balanced with active modules, let's step things up. For Loadout 2, I kept the passive modules but added one active module per turret to boost power when needed. On the Helix 2, I added a surge, which is plus 50% laser power for 15 seconds, and on the Impact 2, I added Stampede plus 35% power for 30 seconds. The Hofstede S2 I didn't change and kept two focus tree for plus 80% optimal charge window. This gave me the option to push harder on bigger rocks without losing too much stability. During testing, I managed to crack a 21 K mass rock with this setup. The trick is timing your active modules. My method: push the laser to 100% power, then activate the module with Alt 1, 2 or 3, depending on the place where the module is placed on the laser head. Once the timer starts, you will see the boost, but be careful. If the bar climbs into the red zone, immediately drop power or shut off the laser to avoid an explosion. This loadout feels like a great middle ground. You still have safety from the passive modules, but with a little extra punch when you need it. And the final Loadout 3, the aggressive setup. This loadout I'm using currently and is my favorite so far. This is a high power aggressive build that lets you crack rocks you wouldn't even dream of touching with the Prospector. On the Helix 2, I have one Rigger C3, one Stampede for plus 35% power and one Surge for plus 50% extra power. Combined, that's a plus 110 extra laser power. On the Impact 2, I have one Focus 3, one Stampede and one Surge for plus 85% power plus a larger green zone thanks to the focus tree. Important note: only the search module can be stacked with another active module at the same time. That's why it's the must-have in any active build. With this setup, I managed to crack rocks up to 23k mass successfully. I think that you can crack higher mass rocks, only that depends on what kind of rock you will find. In the end, it is not foolproof. Some rocks, like a 49k mass monster I found, were simply impossible, even with both active modules running. You will need to have a full mole crewed with other people in order to use the 3 lasers in the same time. And remember, active modules only last a handful of uses, 6 to 8 times, so always bring spares in your backpack or stored in your ship. Swapping modules mid-operation is possible, but it takes practice. On the front turret it's manageable, but on port or starboard as a solo pilot I haven't been able to test it yet. If you have done it, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your experience. Some practical information for the last loadout. The Impact 2 setup compared to the Helix 2 setup is less powerful, and I did it on purpose in order to have more option and to use it for rocks with mass between 10,000 and 20,000 mass. One also important reason compared to the Helix 2 setup is that on the Helix 2 I do not have a focus tree for extra 40% optimal charge window, and sometimes this is not okay, since the optimal charge window is very small, so that when I need those extra 40% optimal charge window, I'm going and I'm using the Impact 2 setup. When you arrive to the rock, stop at plus minus 52-51 meters from the rock. It's not perfect, but I found that at this distance I'm positioned near to the optimal range marker. Further, strafe them all up until the name of the rock disappears from your screen. I found this very useful, and placing them all in a good position for the laser. Those are small things, but I think are very important when you are a solo pilot in a mole. When an active module reached its end life, the module is detaching from the laser head, and you see that the place on your hood is empty, which means that you have to replace it if you have a spare with you. If not, an active module will be placed when you repair the mole, and you will pay the module price. My final thoughts and what's the verdict. Loadout 1 is safe and simple, great for beginners and small rocks. Loadout 2, balanced, more power without losing the control. Loadout 3, aggressive, high risk, but capable of cracking rocks over 20-30k mass. But be careful, since you can go very quickly in the red zone, and if you are not so quick to stop, you will blow the whole rock and can damage not only your laser head but also your ship. For me, the mole solo experience was surprisingly fun. It's not as simple as the Prospector, but with the right setup it can be very effective. At the end of the day, it all comes down to your playstyle. These are just 3 setups I tested, but there are dozens of possible combinations you can try. So, what do you think? Is solo mole mining worth it, or is this ship best left for multi-crew ops? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you won't miss the next Star Citizen Spotlight. See you in the verse, pilots.